All right. So a lot of men they get stuck in dating mode. Okay. And when I say dating mode, I'm talking about just attracting women. But they never learn how to stay connected with her. And so if you're someone who gets dates and always ends up being single eventually, this live is for you. If you're new here, my name is Mitchell. I'm a relationship coach. And in today's live, I'll be talking about what works in pickup will get you dumped in a relationship. And so the first one I would like to talk about is in dating, you're looking for interest, but in a relationship, you're building connection. And so in a dating phase, okay, in a dating phase, your job is not to convince her to like you. It's not to convince her to like you. Your job is to find out, well, does she like me enough to continue on to go out with me? And so, in other words, it's more of an interest type of gauge. So, and this is where most guys they get wrong, where they constantly text, they over explain, they over pursue, and they chase for certainty, meaning they need to know where they stand with her. And so instead of asking himself, is she interested in me? They're asking, how can I make her interested? And so that's where neediness begins. And in a relationship phase, once she is invested and she is committed to you, the objective changes. And now you're no longer really screening whether or not she's the proper person for you. You're more so in this connecting. It doesn't mean you're still not screening. You're still looking for certain things, especially if it's still like a fresh relationship, but you're more so trying to connect, trying to see how well you guys mesh together. And so she doesn't need as much mystery as you think, but it doesn't mean you don't do anything. You know, you should still date her, you should still court her, you should still surprise her on dates. Like these are things that will never end. It's just the objective of whether you're dating or in a relationship, it changes. And so she needs more understanding from you. She needs to feel you. She needs to also feel seen. She needs to feel heard. She needs to feel understood, appreciated, and she wants to stay connected with you. So a lot of men continue to act like they're still trying to maintain this type of chase while they're in a relationship. And so they become so emotionally unavailable. And then they act surprised when she says, well, I don't really feel as connected to you anymore, or I don't love you as much as I used to. And so in a relationship, it's understanding communication without coming across as too needy or too desperate. And that is the key to a successful relationship. Number two is being too available early on looks weak, being unavailable later looks like you just don't care. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there. Okay. There's a lot of like, you don't even need to hear from me. Right. But there's a lot of people out there that will teach you a lot of game, teach you a lot of pickup. And it's nice. It's fresh. And it's always exciting because you never know what you're going to expect. But very little people out there will teach you how to communicate and maintain that attraction in a long term relationship. So now, if you dating, okay, you barely know her, you're double texting, constantly trying to check in, seeking reassurance from her, basically just kind of blowing up her phone, right? It communicates that your happiness now depends on her response. And to her, it just feels like pressure. And pressure is what destroys attraction. It's just not in your favor to constantly text. But in a relationship, whether it's weeks, months, years of being in a relationship, some of these same guys, they swing a little bit too far in the opposite direction. So they become this kind of emotionless type of zombie kind of guys, right? Where they're emotionally distant, they're difficult to talk to, they're always, on their phone, not paying attention to her, never checking to see how she's doing. And they think, well, I'm doing this because I was taught never to be this type of needy guy. And I understand that from that perspective because you're taught a lot of dating early on game type of phase, right? It's not like maintaining your relationship and keeping it healthy. Now, if you're thinking, hey, I don't want to look needy to my girlfriend or wife, what she's thinking is, look, your girlfriend or wife is thinking, he's just not confident. Like, you're thinking, hey, I want to be indifferent in order to maintain this type of attraction. But let me tell you what indifference does, whether it's in dating or in a relationship. So, in dating, it's helpful. Why? Because it helps you avoid overinvestments. It helps you avoid anxiety or being too desperate. And that's a good thing because you're still gauging. You're not sure whether or not this person is the right person for you. And also in the dating phase, it helps you with maintaining your sanity. You don't want to go crazy over someone you just met. And so it helps you spot a lot of red flags. Also, it's like, well, it prevents you from looking through the lens of rose-colored glasses, like, "Oh my god, this person is the best thing in the world for me," right? Now, in a relationship, it's not very good to be too indifferent because there's a lot of emotional disengagement. You're like, you just distant, you just cold, you just what am I talking about? I'm talking about what works in pickup will get you dumped in a relationship. And so, in a relationship, when you're indifferent, you know, you get to what? You're ignoring needs from her. So you see that she is upset, but you're saying to yourself, like, hey, you know what? It's her problem, not mine. She has to deal with it. Yes, to some degree, but you're also in it together. You got to support each other. Otherwise, don't be in a relationship, right? Now, most people, they also kind of brush things off in a relationship. They're indifferent. They're kind of like, whatever, it is what it is. So they brush things off and they pretend it never really happened. And so they hope that it will eventually go away, but eventually it's going to creep back up. So if you think about it in this perspective, women typically they do not leave men because they're like busy, but they leave because they stop feeling important. They stop feeling important and they feel like, oh, he just doesn't care. And so that's the biggest difference. Now, attraction gets you through the door, communication keeps you in there. A woman can be very, very attracted to you and still leave eventually. Eventually. Why? Because attraction alone does not solve relationship problems, communication does. Now, this is to say, if you act like a bitch, though, she will treat you like a bitch. No matter what. A woman will always, always, always test your strength. Okay. So some of the things that happens in in the dating and courting will still happen in a relationship. It's just understanding the difference. So many men think, a lot of guys think that if she's attracted to me, everything will work itself out. It usually doesn't. And at some point in any relationship, it requires difficult conversations. Okay. It requires you to be vulnerable. You have to listen and you have to understand. You have to listen and understand what the hell she's talking about. And that's where most guys, they mess up. And so the strongest relationship are built on they're not just built on chemistry alone, okay? They're built on other things as well. You're looking for character when you're in a relationship because you have to vet your dating prospects. And if you're not vetting your dating prospects, eventually you're gonna get stuck in a relationship with someone that you just kind of like, hey, you know what? I'll settle because this is the first thing that kind of landed on me. And you're not really giving yourself many, many options. And so, example in dating, okay? Here's an example in dating and an example in a relationship, okay? In dating, you can disappear for a few days and it creates this chemistry, this mystery that you have. Like, damn, what is it about this guy that she was talking to and now he just kind of disappears, but then reappears. He still shows he's interested, but for some reason I want him more and he's not just blowing up my phone like all these other guys. So it creates mystery, it creates attraction. But in a relationship, when you disappear and you ignore her, I never teach men to ignore women, all right? But if you disappear and you ignore her, it creates anxiety. It creates this lack of trust on her. And so she's like wondering like what the hell is going on? Why is this person not saying anything? And so now, when you understand the difference between dating and in a relationship, understanding this will make you a much better partner because you have to understand that men who understands women are loved by women. And the same behavior that creates two completely different outcomes depends on the stage of the relationship. So you just have to understand that different phases means different things. A lot of people they apply dating in a relationship, and that's how you get single. I mean, I'm pretty sure you did it without even knowing. And so the goal changes from creating attraction to maintaining respect in a relationship. Because early on, creating attraction, what does it mean? It means that you need confidence. You have to set boundaries. You have to have your own independence as a guy, and you have to have your own purpose. You have to know which direction you're going to. That is what builds attraction. This man knows what the hell he's going and knows what he's doing. He has answers and he will figure it out one way or another. Like to her, that's attractive. Why? Because it's confidence. The number one most attractive thing to a woman is confidence. And so, but one but once she's your girlfriend or she's your wife, respect becomes this foundation. It becomes a foundation. Though you still need all of the above, like the confidence, the boundaries, the purpose, the independence. Okay. But respect comes from consistency. You have to be consistent. Can she trust your words? Not 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10. Can she depend on you? Can she do that? Does your actions match your promises? Because many guys think, well, once I got her, the work is really done, right? Like that's usually where the beginning of the end of the relationship. That's where relationships start to fade away. The courtship stops, the listening stops, and your effort. And so eventually respect starts to fade. And I've always said this, where respect goes, love follows. And a lot of men, they believe that attraction is what keeps the relationship alive. And there's some degree, like there's a lot of truth to that, but there's other things that need to be met. It's learning to balance both. So you don't want to lose attraction by acting too cold and being too distant, nor do you want to give up on your goals and dream and make her your world. And so overall, what I would say to this is the mistake men make is using dating strategies inside a relationship. Because during dating, you're trying to determine whether she's interested enough to earn your time. But in a relationship, you're trying to build something worth staying for. So what works in pickup might get you the girl, but also could get you dumped. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next live. All right, peace.